All right, so I am on a roll. All right, dog. What do you mean, baby boy? Baby boy's right by me. Oh, no, boy. All right, so picture of a baby right there. Yes, he is. Anyway, you guys got the luxury of the baby boy. Gotta get my camera just right. Hello. Okay, anyway, I wanted to do one more really awesome one. It is my favorite besides the Royal Egyptian one. And I can go deeper into these as far as giving you more information, but really this information is really meant for me. It's my sessions performed on me with QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. I'm a level 2 practitioner and I love it. I'm super passionate about it. But also, as being a practitioner, it's always good for the practitioner to go under too as well. So you just learn all the feelings and you know how the person feels when they go under. So I've only had 3 sessions done on me, and this particular past life, I was so excited to share with you guys because it's like fairy tale, but it's not. But it's not. So anyway, this one was the Atlantean life. I really, really love this life. I'm so excited to share it. Again, you don't know what life you're going to get. You don't know what's going to pop up. You really can't fantasize when you're under like this. Because when you do, you wouldn't be able to match that life because, see, we don't know that time. Supposedly it's erased, basically, and now it's all starting to pop up. And the Atlanteans have been on the planet longer than we have. They've lived on here even 25,000 years before. But anyway, going back to just that life, that memory that my being has in its cellular structure, in the memory cellular structure. Anyway, I love it. So anyway, I didn't know I was going into that life. That's the cool part. It's like these lives just pop up as you go under. And that's why I love QHHT, because you just don't know what you're going to get. Anyway, so that life also was shown. So when you go under, generally you only get one past life that pops up, but that time in particular I had 2, and it was the little boy that I had just did a video on, and then it was this life. And as I was going into this life, I was a young girl, 20 years old. I felt like I instantly felt, because when you go into the life, you can really feel the memory of how you were. So, for instance, I felt very privileged, almost self-centered, snooty. I instantly said that. I was like, It's like, I don't like that. I want it like this. I need a new outfit every day. And when I came into that life, I felt very privileged, very rich, very whatever I wanted I could have. Annoyed by the family. I said that I loved being out and about. And I always have in this life as well, like go, go, go. I always want to do stuff. I always want to go places. And in this Atlantean life I was going into, so again, didn't know I was going into Atlantean life. I described how tall I was, and that's what triggered the practitioner to go, you're not in a regular life. You're in something different. And so that was the initiative right there. That was the little spark of like, wait a minute, we got something good here. So she asked me to describe myself, and I said we had extremely long hair. And as I looked, my hair it was like Rapunzel hair, thick and long. And I looked over and I was like, how did I get my hair in this braid? It was like this like bun at the bottom and then braided in the middle. And it was gorgeous. I mean, my hair was gorgeous. And I was like, oh, my mom is, so I had a mom and that's all she did. And I could see her fingers go like braiding everyone's hair. Like I had siblings, I had sisters and stuff and aunts, and she did all of everyone's hair and she was gorgeous. And I was like, well, we're all gorgeous. I was like, we all look like movie stars. We all look flawless, so perfect and so beautiful and glowing. I actually said we were glowing and she's like, glowing? And I said we were extremely tall. I was like taller than a regular person. Because also when you're going into these past lives, you know, your normal conscious self, your everyday you is like right there. It's like watching this movie, watching it as like it's a movie. And so I feel like when you go through these past lives, you can really chime into both. Well, at least I can. Connecting to both basically is like, I would like look at it and go, wow. I was like, what the heck? And then I would be that person. And so she moves me forward and I said, uh-oh, something's wrong. And she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, well, we're telepathic. And my dad is telling me, he's in my head, and my dad's saying, get home now, something is gonna happen. And I would come home and nothing would happen. And I would say, Dad, what is your problem? You know, like, why are you making me do this? I just want to like go out and do stuff and shop and just be out, you know, like I didn't want to be home for some reason. I don't know. I just didn't. She even had me describe, like I had a car, like she moved me forward or whatever, and I had a vehicle, and I didn't say it was a car. I think I don't even know how I described it. I think I even said spaceship. I have to listen to that one again, but like, and she's like, what's it called? And I said, it's a crystal. I was like, well, we call it crystal. And the Atlanteans were big on crystals. Big time. If you know anything about the Atlanteans, the crystals, vibration, that was their deal. Like they had power in these crystals. And she's like, how do you operate it? You know, and I was like, oh, well, it looks really tiny. It almost made me think of it like a sports car, like our everyday sports cars now, where there's 2 seats and you feel like, oh, you're not going to be able to fit in there, but you end up fitting in there just fine, you know? And it was the same deal. Like I was like extremely tall. Like I don't even know how to describe how tall I was. I was weird, freakishly tall. Like, yeah, like if you were going to say if someone was tall, I was tall. And although I wasn't like a freak, it's just that's how tall I was at that anyway. And I was like, yeah, I was like, you wouldn't think I would fit in this vehicle, but I fit in it just fine. I fit comfortably. And and so anyway, my dad would come home from his job and no one would have to work. He was the only worker. And we had an extremely big family. Like everyone lived with us. And I said that. And I said that our homes, we were in like a circle because we were at the top family. Like we were actually a really like I don't know how to describe that. I just know that that's how I felt. Is like we're at the top level of a family. Like we were there for a purpose of spreading because we were pure love and light. And like our energy was going into anyone who was negative, and it like leveled them out, because that was the only way to get rid of the negative, is to overpower them with the love and the light, because that would mellow it out and then they would be okay again. And so since we were telepathic, every time that the practitioner would, you know, talk to me, I'd be like, oh, I was like, my dad's in my head again. I'd become that girl. And she's like, well, what is your dad saying? She's like, why don't you look in his head and see what's going on? And so when she did that, it like also gave me permission to go, oh, all right. And I like looked at him and I was like, well, I see his face. And I got really emotional because his face brought back that comfort of that time I loved my dad. And I was like, wow, to see my dad again. He's so handsome. He's so sculpted. He was so perfect of a human. I don't know how to describe that. He was so cute and so buff, but not too buff. It was like just the right. And his hair was super short. And it's funny because all the women's hair was like extremely long. But all the guys, they had this like really great cut. Like short, he had pepper, like the gray and the dark hair, and he just was super handsome, and his eyes were like this crystal blue that it would have blown your mind, you know, because it's like, whoa. So when I looked at him, I was like, wow. And I was like, well, I was trying to read his mind because we were telepathic, and when she was like, all right, well, I want you to read his mind, and when I was doing that, I could see he could also block me because he was super powerful. And I said that. I was like, well, he's only letting me see so much. Something is wrong at work. He works as a scientist. He like the things that came out of me blew my mind, you know. So I said, he works as a scientist up in that building over there. And he works on vibration, and he makes sure that the other ones, like everyone's vibration is working flawlessly, and he's like there for the good, for the greater good, is like to even out, because his energy was so pure, and so he was just a mighty person, a being. And what's cool about it is he blocked me, and he goes, no, you can't. Like, I remember being like, him going like, get out of my mind, you know. And I was like, oh, I was like, my dad shoved me out of his mind or something like that. And that one was really cool because of that. And we kind of just kept moving forward, and I ended up having a little baby girl. I couldn't see a husband, so that was really odd. I did not see that, but nor did she ask it. Sometimes if you don't ask, if the practitioner doesn't ask, I may, you know, as the person under, you're not always going to say what you see, because you just don't. You may say some stuff automatically, but if they don't ask, what are you seeing? Are you this? Those things may not pop up. You know, the person may still see them and remember them when they wake up. So that's nice for that. But to get it out there and stuff and have it on the recording is really ideal. So anyway, move me forward. I was out and about, and I had a baby. And going back, one more. So when I'm at the house and I see all of my family and we're in the circle, like the practitioner says, what do you guys do for fun? Because there's so many of us. And I go, oh, I'm so annoyed. I have to be with my family. And I was like, well, we like to sit in a group and we watch these little, basically, if you know anything about Atlanteans, they transform human into animal. And so it'd be half and half. And weird, we had like little human goats. I don't know how to explain that. It's like a human body, goat bottom. And they were like our little servants, but we treated them so well. Like, they were so thankful that we picked them. Like, she goes, how do you get them? And I said, oh, I was like, and when she did that, I was definitely the Atlantean, where I was like, why are you asking me that question? You know, you go in town and you just choose one and you just take it home. And that's what I said to her. And I said, they're so thankful that we chose them, but they're like pets. They're our service. They bring us our food, but we care for them just like a pet, like you would now. You would love them. You would give them the best. And that literally is how my family treated them. Is like they were part of the family basically, but they would dance and do little skits for us. And it's amazing. And I remember my uncle, don't know why, but I said, oh, that's my uncle. He's like, ho, ho, ho. And I said that in the reading, and every time in my session, I laugh at that part because like I remember feeling annoyed. Like, like, yeah, that's my uncle, and he's so loud, but I love him, you know, like that's how I felt. Just like any typical person now would be with their family if they got annoyed by them, but they love them, of course. So it's just funny to like put those together and even say that. Like, what the heck? That stuff came out of me. I was like, what? I just thought that was really neat. But anyway, as she moved me forward, I was out and about, and I felt like I was still super young because at the end of my session, basically my higher self said Atlanteans lived between more than 200 to 300 years at once. And I was probably 30. Like, that's how I felt. Like, I was so young. I felt like just a kid, and I had so much time, and my father wanted me to be a scientist. And he kept saying that. He was like, you're very smart. You can be a scientist. And I used to be like, Dad, that's not what I want to be. I don't want to be a scientist. Like, literally, he would push for it, and I had that feeling of like, Dad, just, it's okay. I have plenty of time. And little did I know that he could already see the future. He could already see that, yeah. So anyway, as she moved me forward, it took me to the death day of that life. And I was actually cut off because I came at that time to experience the destruction of Atlantis. I thought that was cool. But anyway, of course, with the Atlanteans, the destruction was there were bad scientists, and they were messing with the vibration and drilling it into the earth and whatnot. And there was other beings like the Anunnaki that said, hey, you guys, they came down and they were like, hey, you guys need to knock it off. If you don't, we're going to wipe you guys clean, and you will be nothing but no more than a fairy tale. They didn't believe them because, see, the Atlanteans were self-centered and conceited and really just full of themselves because they had evolved so far into these amazing beings. It's like us, like they're human god type deal, and that's what we are. We're just as amazing. We're just now getting all that stuff back. But anyway, that day was amazing. So I'm out and about, and then all of a sudden my back is turned to it. A tsunami came and took me out. And literally okay, so when you're under, sometimes it's like you don't really realize, like your body doesn't know any difference. It feels like it's reliving that moment. So it's up to the practitioner to say, hey, you're just an observer. And you know, we're training, so at that moment it didn't happen like that. My spit like became water, and I felt like I was drowning. I was like, so she was like, you're just an observer. You're not going to feel anything. Floated up. I was like, oh. And then, you know, I stopped coughing, and I was like, and then I could see. And as an observer, you can see everything. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, there's 100 feet of water above my head. I'm trying to like swim to the surface, and there was no way. None. It was turmoil at that time, meaning volcanoes, and it just was everything all at once. And yeah, that one blew my mind big time. I was sad because I felt like I was cut short. So it goes back with my eyes of not being able to see the future. But it was just a moment in time. Hey, I lived that life and I got cut short. It was beautiful. I kind of took that life for granted. And now I think in this life, I can really appreciate it and love it and be thankful for it. And I hope you guys really like that story. It is quite long in this video, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to it. So I'm just going to kind of cut that one kind of short. I mean, cut it off, basically. That's really the gist of it. There were some Atlanteans that were able to get on a ship, I said, and go to the star that we communicated with. There was a star that was like our second home. Wow. So most died, but some got away. And I thought that was incredible. And I did get healing from that too. Yeah, so thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. When I have more sessions, I'll be sharing as much as possible. So thanks for following me.